My name is Gabriela Basaldua, and I will be talking about the conflict of Boko Haram in Nigeria. The states and factions involved are Boko Haram, which is an Islamist militant group, Nigerian government that has the support of Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and the US, especially in a military way. Also, the International Committee of the Red Cross that is helping with the negotiations and the refugee crisis that is taking place. It started, according to the United Nations, in 2009, but according to the Council of Foreign Relations, it started in 2011. The main causes of this conflict is that the group Boko Haram started because of a rebellion against the Nigerian government as a consequence of an ethnic religious division that was made by the British around 50 years ago when they merged populations and territories who had nothing in common, leaving resentment and political friction between the groups. Now, the country can be split between the Muslim North and the Catholic South. The uneven distribution of oil revenue, which is the main export of Nigeria and the dependency of their economy, has led to poverty, unemployment, inequality, and high levels of corruption in the government that also were factors of the group's creation. Since 2011, Boko Haram has conducted terrorist attacks to religious and political groups, police, military, and attacking civilians with suicide attacks, kidnapping students, children, women, and others. There are more than 37,500 deaths since May of 2011, 2.4 million displaced people from the Lake Chad Basin, and actually in June of 2018 there was an announcement that 2,000 IDPs were to return home, and there are more than 228,000 Nigerian refugees that normally go to Cameroon. Some of the actions taken by the United Nations are taken from the Security Council of the United Nations, which sounded an alarm because of the major terrorist attacks happening in Boko Haram since 2009. This has a major consequence of major displaced people from Nigeria to the neighbor country Cameroon. The Security Council also stated that the conflict represents a threat for the West and Central Africa, and stated that it's a large-scale, devastating life loss. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees is working with the authorities of northeastern Nigeria and the UN partners to help the refugees and displaced people to get the scene of a normal life. They try to accomplish this by ensuring their rights are respected, providing legal and psychological support for victims with sexual abuse, gender-based violence, and providing a shelter and basic household items. They are also advocating for them to have access to basic services, as well as guaranteeing peace and security. The United Nations also launched the United Nations Regional Office for Central Africa, that works along with the United Nations Office for West Africa and Sahel, that were created in 2014. These were created because Central Africa suffers from major terrorist attacks, which includes Boko Haram. This institution organizes a series of workshops that were strategically placed to fight terrorism, and they also have taking control of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Central Africa, meaning that they try to stop terrorist attacks, but they also try to control how many weapons and light arms are trafficking around Central Africa. We believe that this is an ethnic and religious fundamentalist type of conflict because Boko Haram is a terrorist group with Islamic beliefs, who is willing to sacrifice, kill, and die for their beliefs. In this particular case, it has brought the attention to the world by kidnapping women, children, teenagers, attacking civilians, politicians, and other religious groups, even against the local police and militaries. This is also an economic type of conflict because since Nigeria is dependent of their oil exports, and with the terrorist groups having created unemployment and made foreign investment almost impossible, the economy of Nigeria is going down, and it's really bad. In fact, Nigeria is the largest oil producer in Africa. The US is especially interested in this and has deployed troops to Nigeria to control the instability for their own interests. This is also a territorial type of conflict because the area of operation is northeast Nigeria and the north of Cameroon, Niger, and Chad, where Boko Haram still retains control over some territory and also continues to launch suicide attacks, kidnap civilians. This conflict is also military because of the many attacks that has taken against the militia of Nigeria, and even though military forces have been guarding important cities where the terrorist groups are more present, the government lacks the resources to end the insurgent group. The military force of Nigeria is weak and doesn't have power and proper training. The Nigerian government has the military support of Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and the US, and many Boko Haram troops have attempted to overtake a military base in Kenko, but they have failed because the Nigerian soldiers were able to repel the attack. The main concerns of this conflict is a link between Boko Haram and the other Islamic group, including the self-proclaimed Islamic State, that could intensify more the regional security concerns and problems. After the group pledged alliance to the Islamic State in March of 2015, the United States of America sent military assistance and deployed 300 troops to Nigeria in an effort to help. And since Nigeria is economically dependent to its oil revenue and is the largest African oil producer, the regional security is important, and it's also important for the US economic interest. And we believe that some news that are important for you to know are that in October 16 of 2018, 8 workers in Nigeria were killed by Boko Haram. A female member of the International Committee of the Red Cross was kidnapped and then was killed by Boko Haram. Then, in September 26 of 2018, Boko Haram attacked a military base in Nigeria's Borno State, meaning that Boko Haram militias attempted to overrun a military base in the village of Keneko in September 23, and the Nigerian troops were able to repel the attack, and there was no report of casualties. In August 20 of 2018, the militias killed at least 19 people in northeast Nigeria. Boko Haram was attacked in a village northeast of Borno State, and there were at least 19 people killed. In July 19 of 2018, 8 suspected militias confessed to kidnap 8 suspected. So, Boko Haram militias confessed to their involvement in kidnapping more than 200 schoolgirls in Chibok in 2014, according to the police, and about 100 girls remain in captivity, but some of them have managed to actually go out. Thank you.